the Parent Circle one more time. I'm joined today by an amazing panelist, and I'll introduce them later on. But before we begin, today we are talking about drug abuse, which is a very important factor in parenting today. I understand for our show, we normally talk about what parenting is, what we are navigating, solutions that we can come up with, and our challenges generally. So before we begin, let me introduce my panelists. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua Mwema. I'm the country director for Your Ally Foundation International. Your Ally Foundation is an NGO that works with the communities, with people who are struggling with substance use. And we work with communities, we work with families, we work with professionals to empower them to navigate the challenges that come with drug abuse and substance use. We also work with schools and teachers through training to make sure that they are empowered to support students in school on matters mental health and also matters substance use.
Thank you so much, Josh. Rosemary, take it away.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Opio, counseling psychologist by profession. I also work with Your Ally Foundation, and I've just finished a program with Shamiri Institute, which works in implementing mental health programs in schools. So I bring together work in substance abuse among families, adolescents, youth, and also mental health in schools with other organizations. Thank you.
Thank you. So just to start, I was thinking today, for many parents, we are so busy, and we are unable sometimes to be able to assist our children with taking drugs, especially when you have a sick child, and then there's a prescription that has been given and they have to be taken during the day when the parent is away. And the majority of the people who help us at home are not very educated, and they may give children either an overdose or an underdose. Do you consider that drug abuse?
Yes, that would be considered drug abuse.
Mm-hmm. Why would we consider it drug abuse, and what impact would it have in the child's life?
Let's start by defining what drug abuse is.
Sure.
Drug abuse is the harmful or excessive use of drugs, and this is both legal and illegal drugs. And when we're talking about legal drugs, we're looking at alcohol. We're also looking at prescribed medication. Mm-hmm. And of course, when we're looking at illegal drugs, we're looking at marijuana, cocaine, and the likes of that. So back to the legal ones, prescribed medication is among them. Mm-hmm. And if we're talking, maybe let's talk painkillers. And you give maybe a child excess more than what they need. Mm-hmm. The body can develop resistance towards that medication. Mm-hmm. And for some medication like codeine, there is possibility of addiction. Mm-hmm. So you'll find your child maybe was given codeine maybe because it was a strong painkiller and it was needed for that particular condition. Mm-hmm. And now because the caregiver that you left to take care of the child has given excess, now you'll realize now there is dependency. Your child now constantly needs that medication.
Okay.
And that is drug abuse.
That for sure is drug abuse. Would you give it the same insight?
Definitely, yes. Whatever she said is true. Because when you try comparing drug use and drug abuse, the difference is actually very thin. Because when we talk about drug use, you can use it maybe for leisure, for pleasure, for recreation, maybe for medication, for your health. But then when we're talking about drug abuse, then the aspect of the negative effects and consequences comes in. And for the case that you mentioned, it definitely that will be an overdose to this young child. Maybe the house helps, maybe the child carries the drugs to school, and maybe they are depending on their peers and their classmates, maybe the teachers to remind them that you have to take this, and there is always that risk. So it brings in the whole aspect of drug abuse. So when we talk about drug abuse, it is not necessarily, like he said, the illegal ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's something you've mentioned about leisure and pleasure and use of drugs. So is that use or abuse when you use it for leisure, for pleasure?
Okay, it brings in a whole aspect that differentiates the two.
Okay.
You can use drugs for leisure and pleasure.
Okay.
but we're talking about how often do you use the drug, what quantities are you consuming, and also the effect. Like if it results to a negative effect, probably now we can define that as drug abuse, because people might decide now we're just going to have fun, and the consumption is controlled, the rate is controlled, and it is not affecting even your social relationships. It is not affecting your normal functioning, your relationship with others. Now that is controlled. But when the effects exceed and go to the extreme, now we define that as abuse.
Okay, that's interesting, because to me, you cannot use a drug as for leisure or for pleasure.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Something like alcohol. People use it for leisure.
Okay.
But how often you use it, the quantities, is it controlled? Is it affecting your work, your family? Now that brings in the whole difference of whether you're abusing it or not.
Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do agree.
Yeah.
Remember, we defined drug abuse as harmful or excessive use of drugs.
Yes.
And this is both the legal and illegal. So when somebody is drinking alcohol or maybe a glass of wine in a social event, that's just drug use.
Okay.
But when it gets to a point when it's affecting your daily activities, it's affecting your functioning, it's affecting even your speech, then there's a thin line there now where we
say
look
now
at
it is
it
abuse.
as abuse. And it's different for everyone.
Okay.
Because the way you react to certain drugs is not the way Josh here would
Absolutely
react to certain drugs. So there's a thin line, just like we said.
Extremely. There's a very, very, I have to agree with that.
Yes.
Also, I think people may just be confused about the leisure part because of, the quantity or what is it that makes it pleasure for me, and what is the definition of pleasure. But anyway, that's opening another Pandora's box. So I want to go back. Josh, let me just ask you, do you think, what would you say about drug abuse in Kenya? Is it over the roof, or how would you describe it?
The issue about drug abuse is a real issue that is affecting not only Kenya, but even in other nations.
Yeah.
When you try to listen, when you read the statistics, it is affecting so many nations. The other time we were in Uganda, and alcohol consumption is a real issue in Uganda. And also here in Kenya, when you try to see the survey that has been conducted by NACADA, alcohol is a real challenge, and also cannabis. The young people have so many names for that, and it is a real issue. So as a society, we need to come up with ways on how to manage this, because it is like we are, and mostly the young people have normalized drug and substance use and abuse. Look at what is happening in the learning institutions. It's like if you're not using, like you're special, like you cannot fit. You cannot fit into the system.
Yeah.
And that brings in a whole new aspect about drugs.
It does.
Because look at the media, what is happening. The media has normalized it, praising drugs use. The media is also promoting the use of it. Like we see people living luxurious lives in movies, in songs, in music, and all that. So as a society, there is a way that we are normalizing drug use, and we are praising it. And I believe that is the genesis of us losing like so many lives into this
drug
issue.
abuse.
Yeah.
Okay. It is interesting that you mentioned, children wanting to belong, or people wanting to belong. I wonder, Rosemary, what would you advise a parent who has, a child who is struggling to belong, but now the belonging is use of drug, so that you seem to be part of, communities that have been created by other children or other youth?
Okay. There's a part of the ITC model, which is the framework that we use in our work in the communities, that there's a line that we usually say behaviors make sense. And what this line means is you might not understand why your child is taking the drugs,
Yeah.
but they do. And as a parent, it's important that you come down to where they are. And that's what most parents are skipping.
Yeah, that's why we're having a disconnect.
Yeah, there's a huge disconnect there. And immediately when a parent finds out my son, my daughter is taking marijuana, drinking alcohol, the immediate thing is usually punishment. The immediate thing is usually quarreling. The immediate thing is usually insults or being beaten, ruthlessly being beaten. And this doesn't help.
No, it doesn't.
Let's just be honest. It doesn't help. So it's important as a parent to come down to where they are, to understand where is this behavior coming from, because to them it makes sense. Let me give an example of a student I have met.
Yeah.
The student was struggling with academics. This is a high-achieving student.
Yeah.
There's so much pressure at home to get these A's, to get into the university. As a parent, you'll be like, there's nothing that you're stressed about. I mean, I pay the school fees, I provide for you dinner and whatnot. We've gotten to a point where not every single parent understands that teenagers can go through depression, can have stress as something that they're dealing with because of different things here and there. It could be because of having social anxiety and having trouble with making friends. It could be because they're struggling with academics. And when they get this alcohol and it seems to be helping with some of these things, suddenly, this is a solution. I can use this as a solution. I tend to have trouble making friends when I'm sober, but I've taken this drug and it has helped. So it will continue helping. I have managed to make friends now. I used not to be able to have friends or talk to people, but I took the alcohol and it helped. I took the cannabis, I took the marijuana, it helped. So now it's like I have to do this every time so that I can be able to make friends. When it comes to the academic beat now, there's so much pressure at home. There's so much pressure with relatives to join the university. All this pressure, people look for solutions. And they turn to alcohol, they turn to all these forms of drugs as a solution. So for you, you'll see it as a negative thing that they've introduced to their lives, but they see it as a positive thing that they've introduced to their lives. Because it has made a difference. It has enabled them to be able to make friends. It has enabled them to be able to deal with these pressures. It has enabled them to deal with this depression that they don't really understand what is going on because, let's be honest, not every single teenager understands that there's something called depression and not every household talks about it. So there's this thing that they are going through, that just these thoughts of, I'd like to end my life, and they don't understand it, and there's no safe space at home to talk about it, and they find a solution, which is the drugs. So as a parent, you're seeing a negative thing, they are seeing a positive
solution.
So come down, I'd say to parents, come down to where your child is. Put the anger aside, put the punishment aside. What the ITC model that we're using is emphasizing on, let's bring in compassion, let's bring in understanding. Try to understand where this person is coming from. Like, I understand you're hurt as a mom, you're hurt as a dad, you're wondering where did you go wrong. But please, come down to where your child is.
And sometimes you're actually in disbelief. Because you've known your child differently, and then now it turns out it is not the child that you know. The child has turned out into something else, isn't it?
Now, and maybe to add on what she's saying about the whole aspect of behaviors makes sense. Because, truth be told, we are brought up by African parents here in Kenya, most of us. And you know how parenting in an African or in a Kenyan setting is. And to a parent who has provided everything to their child, you cannot prove to them that the reasons why their children are into drug use and abuse make sense. That takes a lot to convince the parents. But there is a saying that we usually use in this framework, and I think it is a Scottish proverb that says, "They talk of my they talk of my drinking, but not of my thirst. The moment we start discussing the thirst, then we discuss the why behind the behavior, which is the drinking. Very important. So let us not just rush into judgments, rush into acting. Let us understand why. And also a very interesting perspective about this framework. We say that one size doesn't fit all.
Sure.
There are different reasons why people are engaged in drug and substance use. For a teenager, the reasons could be different from a 50-year-old man or person. So it is always important to understand and to treat each case as a unique case. Yeah.
Now that, I like the idea of the framework. It sounds like, it seeks to find solutions from the root. I want to ask you, from what we have talked about concerning the root, especially from the teenagers that your organization has interacted with who are struggling with drug abuse, what has been the most common root, or which ones are the common roots for drug abuse?
Okay, it all depends. But currently, media is a leading factor that is driving teenagers and youth into drug use.
Because of normalizing it?
Media has normalized it, and you can access any information. But also, the funny thing is that we can also use media to manage and to control it.
Can you tell us about that? Controlling and managing it using media.
Yeah,
because it's sensational to talk about a problem from the problematic, perspective.
Yeah.
But when we come to solutions, people withdraw because the interesting part is not the fun part to watch and to see. So how can we use it as a solution and, as a way of finding the causes?
Even starting from even the adverts that run in our media about drugs, whether legal or maybe I know there are no illegal drugs adverts, but even starting from the legal advert for legal drugs, like the aspect of this should not be consumed by blah 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 takes a very small portion of the advert.
Now that you've said it. I'm running it in
You're running it in your mind.
Yes.
Yeah, it takes a very small portion.
It should be insisted on.
It should be insisted on. It should be insisted on. And even organizations that are advocating for management and control of drug use, also we should also run our own adverts. You rarely see that in the media. We can also use education in the media. So it depends on what are you consuming in the different media, like be it print media, be it social media, whichever media you're using. It depends on what you're consuming. So with that, media is a very powerful tool to educate the youth and also the community at large on matters drugs and drug abuse.
I agree with you. That makes a lot of sense. But now that we've spoken about finding, the root cause, what does this framework offer after we have, gone back to the roots and, realize that my child is using drugs because of this? What next from this framework?
From this framework, number one, it gives you the skills. Truth be told, care fatigue is real when you have someone who is struggling with drug abuse. Care fatigue is real. And also you lack like a supportive network. So through this platform, we bring in people and we form support groups. Where people can share experiences, where people can non-judgmentally share experiences, share their stories, and they inspire each other. So that is one thing that is really, really key. And also understanding, like we said, like why are they into this? That is very key. And also to you as a person, what can you do? Because as we said, care fatigue is real.
It is.
And we're talking about self-care and self-compassion. You need to understand that at some point you also need to take care of yourself. Sometimes you can lose yourself, lose your mind, have mental health issues, trying to support your loved ones. So this whole framework, it is a holistic approach to both how you can support your loved ones and also how you can support yourself.
Let's talk about care fatigue. I mean, now that it takes a lot of, exhaustion to care for these people, but we do need to care for them. Does it, give into the person who I'm caring for when I'm now fatigued and I'm feeling like, oh my God, what do I do with them? And is there a way that it can be managed?
That's where we're coming in. So when we are providing support to the person struggling with addiction, for us, we're also bringing in the aspect of supporting also the caregivers.
Okay.
And we are also bringing in an aspect of doing things that not necessarily drain you. Let me give an example that we used as we were being trained on this. Yeah. There's a woman who we all know the rural communities where there's always just that drunk man who is found in the gutters. And he always comes home drunk, or sometimes he doesn't even come home. So this model to the caregiver would be like, fine, you've understood there's a reason behind why this person is drinking. So we are changing the narrative. Ideally, as a wife to such a person, you'd quarrel every time this person comes home drunk.
Of course,
because
to show that you're tired. And
I am tired. This is exhausting. But we're changing the way of doing things, and we are saying, what if you employ a different strategy? Yeah. What if the next time this person comes home, I know it might seem crazy, but the next time this person comes home, they've never come home at all. They're usually found somewhere and somebody else brings them home. So the next time they come home, you just mention, I'm glad you've come home today.
Okay.
This drunk person, I'm glad you've come home today. The thing that will click on this person's mind is, she likes it when I come home. So the next time he'll be drunk again, but he will come home. So you've given a positive reinforcement for something.
Yeah.
So this reduces even the exhaustion that you have going on, because the more you quarrel, the more you are exhausted.
Yeah.
But when you just take a step back and just approach things from a different direction, and you just shift it from quarreling to just focusing on the positive, it will make this person who's constantly always taking drugs to also start focusing on the positive. Like, she saw I came home and she didn't quarrel, she focused on this positive. So there's a high chance he will come home again the next day.
There is.
A very high chance. So you've already shifted that. And then the next time, maybe when they come home a bit sober, again, you mention that. So you're focusing so much on the positive that you'll realize this person will start changing on his own without you pushing him to change.
So it's like you're encouraging that person to change.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we're approaching the whole idea of addiction with compassion, with focusing on the positive, because this person is already struggling with something that they're probably not saying it out loud, or they're not comfortable sharing it, or it just got out of hand and they realized it late, because not everyone wants to be addicted to drugs. It just gets to a point,
you just get there.
Yeah, you just get there. So now it's up to the family to come in and be like, how do we approach this with this person?
Yeah.
And just like we said, each person is different. So that idea that I've shared about this drunk person might not work for everyone, but this is just an example.
Okay.
And just as we were speaking about what drug abuse looks like in Kenya, maybe I'd like to add something. I'd say it's over the roof. It's over the roof because Kenyans are numbing. Kenyans are numbing with drugs. Why are Kenyans numbing with drugs? There's a lot going on, especially among the youth.
Yeah.
We're looking at unemployment.
Yeah.
We are looking at the poverty levels. And you'd think, okay, you don't have money, you ought to be saving instead of spending on alcohol. But the thing is, once you've realized, I don't have money coming in, I'm in campus, I don't have school fees. And then one time your friends are like, twende sherehe, that's a Kenyan slang, twende sherehe. And you go one time and you feel great. Suddenly you're not thinking about these
Your
things.
troubles and every bad
They're
thing.
gone. So Kenyans are numbing. The youths are numbing. The teens are numbing. So drugs are being used as a numbing technique.
Okay.